Hello everyone, it's Aislinn here, and it is now May 31st. This is my Medievalathon wrap-up. I actually ended Medievalathon a day early because I finished all the books I wanted to finish and didn't really want to start one I knew I wasn't going to get through or anything. So, I ended up, this is my crappy little spreadsheet. So the first book I read was We Have Always Lived in the Castle. That got me the chicken and the peasant tier. Then I finished Cursed, which got me the fox and up to Squire. Then my reading taste led me into a bunch of male clothing, which I was really kind of personally aiming for the dresses because I thought they were really cool, but whatever. It's just the way it worked. Notice I have no weapons this round. Yeah, that's how my reading went. So the next one was I Bring the Fire Wolves. That got me up to Knight. Then I got The Shield because I finished Ash Princess, which is a book that you had high expectations? Yeah, high expectations for. Then I got The Male Armor, which was Read a Book with a Dragon, and I read Half-Blood Dragon. And then I read The Orphan Queen, which was a book that had yellowed over time. Then I read one that actually ended up not being on my TBR, but I'm a mood reader. It was available at my came available at my library. It's been on my wait list for a while. So I don't have a picture here, but I will post it here. That is Mechanica by Betsy Cornwall. Overall, how I felt about the books. We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I'm just coming to the conclusion that Shirley Jackson and I can't jive with her writing. I don't believe her books have aged well. I get for the time she wrote, she was really groundbreaking, but there is a lot of tropes and language used and certain character archetypes that I really don't think are relevant in today's day and age. So maybe if I'd read these as I was younger or as part of a literary course or something, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I'm not actually going to be reading anything more by her. I do not like her writing style, which is sad because I know she's one of those like thriller, horror, classic authors that everyone talks about and everyone seems to love, but I just don't. I finished it. I almost DNF'd it so many times, but thank God it's a short book. And yeah, that's how I felt about that. Cursed, I very much enjoyed. It was pitched as a King Arthur retelling, like a gender-bent Arthur. That's wrong. It's not. It is definitely a King Arthur retelling, but a lot of people saying that it's a gender-bent Arthur is completely wrong. Very much follows the story of the Lady of the Lake, which is Nimue, and Arthur is in here. He's the love interest in here, which is a little weird to me, but whatever. There was a couple things with it, but you know what? It was a fantasy. It was very reminiscent of the old kind of space fantasies. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember like Thundar the Barbarian or He-Man, where they're like this fantasy world, but they're very mixed with sci-fi. That's what this reminded me of. And I went on total nostalgic geek trip and I loved it. And the artwork in it is fascinating. I would show it to you, but I don't know if there's any copyright issues with that or not. So I'm not going to go get my book and show it. But the art is very stylized. Not my particular cup of tea. Like I wouldn't like hang it on my wall, but for the sake of the story and the theme of the story, it was really good. Then I Bring the Fire Wolves is a urban fantasy set with some Norse mythology. Loki is the main character in here, and it was good. It was an urban fantasy. I'm not the biggest fan of urban fantasy, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. Loki as a character is absolutely hilarious, and I absolutely love him. He's so sarcastic and little shithead. Ash Princess was probably my favorite of everything I read this month. Definitely continuing on with the rest of that trilogy. It has this way of showing you a strong character who she's not physically strong, but she's not this big, badass warrior queen, but emotionally she is strong. Not to say she has her fault, or doesn't have faults or doubts or does wrong things, but she definitely is very, I guess the description would be a good definition of the quiet, strong character. She does what she needs to do to survive, but she's always plotting that next step and how to survive that next step for the sake of herself and her people. So this here was one I had high expectations for, and it blew my expectations out of the water, and I'm continuing on with it. Half-Blood Dragon. It's a very, very short book. There were some editing choices in this one that I was a little like, what? Because it's supposed to be like a 250-page book, I believe it is. And it's actually only about 120 because like 3/4 of the book is the actual story. And then like the last quarter, I want to say, it was at least the last 30 to 40 pages were just excerpts from other novels. Like they didn't really have to be in here either. If they wanted like a 150 page, it's 150 pages. You can't tell me that you can't make a book 150 pages, or don't make it 150 pages. That's perfectly fine. People are still going to buy it. Don't promise a 150 page story. Give me an 80-some page story or a 110-page story and then expect me to read your advertisements. That's basically the only thing that pissed me off with this one, which is why I enjoyed the story and I want to continue on. But if the other books are formatted like that, I won't be, because I think that's shady as fuck and I don't like it. Don't make me pay for advertisements. And then the book so that's enough of that rant. A book that yellowed over time, which finally got me my female peasant dress. The one I really wanted, the female armor, because it was badass, but I got stuck with the dress, but whatever. That was a book that has yellowed over time. That was Orphan Queen. It was probably my second favorite book of the trilogy, or of the books I read. Ash Princess blew my expectations out of the water. This one is an older book, and maybe because I was reading Ash Princess at the time, and they're very much along the same themes, only this is more of your typical, like, fighter character, but it didn't really have the plot twists and turns as Ash Princess, so I did enjoy it. I do have the second one. It's only a duology, and I will be finishing it at some point, but I'm definitely not going to be trying to finish it while I'm reading the rest of that the Ash Princess trilogy, because I'll just keep comparing the two, and that's not fair. And then the one book that I read kind of last minute, because I had it on my wait list at my library forever, and it finally came up, so kind of had to read it. And I read it yesterday. It was a short book. It was only like 200 and some pages. And that was Mechanica by Betsy Cornwall, which is a Cinderella retelling. It's okay. Honestly, Lunar Chronicles did it better, like 500 times better. So it was itself. It was kind of a mix between fantasy and steampunk, which was kind of cool. But that was like its only thing. It didn't really retell the genre. It didn't really bring anything new to the table for the Cinderella story. It was the Cinderella story. Just they added steampunk elements to it. So it was a good read, but I wouldn't really recommend reading it. I would say if you want to read a Cinderella retelling or any kind of mixed fairy tale retelling, go read the Lunar Chronicles. They weren't my favorite books in the world, but they were better than that one. So that's it for my Medieval-a-thon wrap-up. I do have one more video I'm filming today, and that is my June TBR, but this one's getting a little long, so I'm going to end it here. Bye!